Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah, and if you're new here, we talk about spirituality, self development, and basically any other weird and wonderful topic that piques my interest. But today, we are going to be talking about identity loss and how to get back to feeling like yourself again after you have lost your way a little bit. I've got my coffee with me today because I feel like honestly I'm going to need it. This is kind of a personal one. I have talked about this before, but yeah, it's pretty deep, it's pretty personal. So let me just sip my coffee and we will get into it. Okay, so identity loss. What is it? I did a podcast episode on my old podcast, which was called the Sacred Self podcast, where I talked a little bit about identity loss and how to sort of recover from it and find your way back to yourself again. But I wanted to do a little update because I feel like I've had a real transformation over the past 6 months, honestly. 6 months ago, I was a very different person. So, yeah, last year, around about September, October time, I was at a pretty low point in life, to be honest. Now, we'd all been through COVID. I don't think anyone can say that they enjoyed everything that COVID and the lockdowns had to offer. I know I certainly didn't. I'm a very sociable person. I like to be out. I like to be meeting people, having conversations, doing things. So that was tough. I'm also an actor, so not being able to perform, be on stage, be on set, network, like all that stuff was just really, really tough. So I'd had a tough time of it the past couple of years, as I think most people had. But I really felt like I'd lost myself along the way. I just really felt like I'd lost my spark. I even felt like the way I was dressing was just really like boring and just not me, and the way I was presenting myself was just not me at all. I got to a point where I was like, I don't recognize this person. Now, there was a lot of other things, a lot of other factors going on as well. We'd had a difficult time family wise last year. I was also in a job that had become extremely toxic for me. I'd also experienced gaslighting. I was going to say for the first time, but for the first time, I actually recognized it for what it was. I honestly had crippling anxiety most days. Now, I'm really good at hiding stuff like that, so that probably wasn't very obvious to outsiders. But my close friends, my partner, they knew like how bad it was. I got to a point and I remember it's funny when I hear people telling stories about transformation and stuff, it always seems like there's a one pivotal moment. And I always thought that can't be right. Surely it's over a small, like gradual period of time. But actually, I literally woke up one morning and was like, this is not me. I am not this person. I am not this anxiety ridden, overthinking, doubtful, negative, like down person. Like, this is just not me. My true self is expressive, confident, positive. Yes, I do have a tendency to overthink at times, and I have always had that, but not to the extent I was. I really didn't recognize the person in the mirror. So I was like, okay, something's got to change. Probably a lot of things have got to change. And from that point on, I made a lot of big changes. I quit the job. I made changes in terms of like my relationships, who I was spending time with. I made changes in terms of like how I looked, what clothes I was choosing to wear. Loads and loads of little changes that I'll get into in a little bit. But I wanted to start off with that personal story because that was my point of realization of being like, this is not me. This is not who I am. I do not recognize this person and I don't want to be her anymore. So if you're feeling that way right now, just know that it's okay and you will, there is a way back to yourself. It's not really going back, it's more like stripping off all of these layers of people's expectations, of societal pressures, of all the things that you feel like you should be to really finding your authentic self underneath it all again. So when I say going back to yourself, I don't mean like going back in time to when you were like 15, because like I don't want to do that either. I just mean stripping away those layers and finding yourself again. It's now 6 months on from that moment. And as I said, I've made some big changes and I am honestly a different person. Like, genuinely a different person. My anxiety almost evaporated overnight, genuinely. Like, that's not, I was at the point where I was, taking CBD. It was like normal for me to feel tight in my chest every single day. Like, that became normal. I was trying to avoid coffee because that would just like, whew, shoot it through the roof. I was having regular like anxiety attacks. I was thinking about work and things like that, like while I was trying to sleep, as soon as I woke up. Like it was just a lot. And when I made the decision to leave my job, that honestly almost evaporated overnight. So sometimes, I'm not saying it's always as easy as that, but sometimes it is just recognizing this isn't how I want to feel, realizing something has to change, identifying what needs to change, and taking the action and just changing it. Because doing that one thing, there was many other things I did that helped as well, but making that one change genuinely, my anxiety pretty much evaporated overnight. Like, that's not a word of a lie. I now feel a lot more confident. I feel a lot more comfortable expressing myself. I mean, I've started uploading regularly onto YouTube, which I'd wanted to do for ages and just hadn't, because I was afraid that people wouldn't want to hear what I had to say. I had imposter syndrome. I was like talking myself out of it. My like inner critic was going crazy. I was thinking, what if you get negative comments, or what if people don't watch? And all that stuff has just disappeared because I've realized that to be your true authentic self, you have to cut all that noise out. It really doesn't matter and it's not serving you. So there's no point listening to it. So I'm going to get into the main things that I did to rediscover my identity. So obviously, as I said, that first main thing was realizing that something was wrong. That's the big thing. The first step is realization. You can't do anything until you realize and accept that something's wrong. Then from there, it was a case of looking at the things in my life that no longer serve me and making changes, cutting them out. So whether that is leaving a job, whether that is not spending time with people that drain you, whether that is not dieting because it doesn't work for you, whatever that is, look at the things that you can cut out and cut them out. You don't need to be harsh or brutal about it. You can do it with love and kindness, but just know that that is something that you will have to do. You will probably have to make changes to rediscover yourself. One of the other things that can be really hard when you have suffered some sort of identity loss is you feel like you don't know how to trust yourself and you don't even really know what you like because you've kind of lost who you are. One thing that I would suggest trying to do is, if you ever watch Yoga with Adriene, she always says this: find what feels good. Not what feels good to other people or what looks good, but genuinely what makes you feel good inside. So it can be really simple things. For me, that is having a bath, that is reading a book, that's having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, that is being with my little puppy. He's not a puppy anymore. He actually turns 2 next month. I can't believe it. So yeah, being with my dog, being with my friends and family, that is watching true crime shows, that is listening to podcasts, listening to music, that is doing pole fitness. Find the things that light you up inside and don't even have a second thought to what other people might think of those things. Again, that's really hard if you feel like you've lost yourself because there's a temptation to constantly seek validation from others and constantly look what other people are doing and just try and do whatever they're doing in hopes that that'll help you feel good. It won't. Trust me, I tried it. It doesn't. Find what feels good for you and don't feel the need to explain it to anyone. If it's not hurting anyone else, it's you don't need to explain it. You do you. The other point that sort of ties in with that is to lean into your quirks or your weirdness or whatever you want to call it. Lean into those things that make you you, even if they're slightly different and slightly weird and out there. That is who you are. That is your essence. That is your own unique way of expressing yourself in the world. So lean into it. Don't be ashamed of it. It's fine to be a little bit weird. Like, who cares? The truth is, everyone's a little bit weird. We don't actually see each other's lives 24 hours a day, okay? As much as it might feel like we do with social media, we don't. Everyone has weird little rituals, morning routines, evening routines, little habits that they do that no one sees, but that is what makes you you. So lean into that. If you like putting your headphones on and dancing around your kitchen for half an hour, go for it. If you like listening to true crime podcasts while you have a bath, go for it. Like, whatever it is, it doesn't have to make sense to other people. As long as it makes sense to you, that's all that matters. So another good tip is find a hobby that you like. So for me, that was pole fitness. I had started doing pole before lockdown and I loved it. And then obviously lockdown happened, couldn't go to pole classes, couldn't really progress with that. And I just sort of fell off of it. When I had my big realization that I wanted to really change my life and be a happier person, I decided to book pole classes again. So I started again in about October times, about 6 months ago, and I love it so much. It makes me so happy. It's my happy place. It's a very supportive environment, and I just feel so confident and empowered when I'm doing it. And it's also almost like a little meditation for me because I literally can't think about anything else when I'm in the class, or else I'm probably going to fall and hurt myself. So it forces everything else out my mind and gets me into that nice sort of meditative state. So yeah, find something that does that for you. My friend Maxine, who was on my last YouTube episode, she does crochet. So she has found a passion for crocheting and it just seems to light her up. Find your crochet, find your pole fitness, whatever it is, find that and work it into your weekly routine. Find space for it, make time for it, because again, that is something that makes you you. That is something that your soul and your body says yes to. So it's a part of you. So make time for it. Another piece of advice is to surround yourself with people who support you and, most importantly, who are non judgmental. Now, this is something I'm honestly still working on. And I have been guilty of being a judgmental person in the past, and I still can be, honestly. But your friends should not make you feel judged. Your friends should not patronize you. They should not gaslight you. They should not make you feel less than. They should build you up. They should be your biggest hype queens, kings, whatever. They should be shouting your name from the rooftops and supporting you wherever they can. That is literally the point of having friends. They are supposed to be your support circle. So if you look around and you are not finding that you have friends like that, it's time to find new friends. And I know, again, that's so easy to say and a lot harder to do. But if you do all the steps before that and practice, leaning into your uniqueness, finding your hobbies, and realizing your worth, you will actually start to attract people that are right for you. And this has really started happening for me. Even just over the past couple of weeks and months, I've been attracting people that I've maybe had in the periphery of my life. Like they've always kind of been there, but they've become suddenly more into my inner circle because I'm being true to myself. I'm showing my true self to the world, and that is so attractive to people. And other people that are living their truth will be attracted to you, and so you will naturally find that the people that are right for you will gravitate towards you as you begin to find yourself again. It can be a long, lonely road. Trust me. Again, been there. It can feel isolating because a lot of the time if you're trying to rediscover your identity, if you're in this process, then you've probably gone through a long period of time of trying to be something that you're not. So you've been putting out this front and you've been showing up to the world as this character that is not you. So the friendships you've made and the connections you've made might be based on a character, on a person that doesn't actually exist. So these people think that they're friends with you when actually that wasn't you. Do you know what I mean? So you can't always blame them either. It can be a really tough process having to strip back the layers, rediscover yourself and own your truth. And you will have to accept that people will inevitably fall away, but the people that are meant for you will find their way into your life and you will have an amazing friendship circle when you start to own your true self. My final tip for today, because I could talk for so long about this, I'm so passionate about this, but my final tip for today is to realize your self worth and be patient with yourself on this journey. So, I guess that's actually two tips. So, my final two tips are be patient with yourself. This will take a long time. As I said, the process for me has been about 6 months to this point, maybe going on 7 months now. And I still don't feel like I'm fully there, like I'm getting there, but I still feel like I've got a little bit of way to go. But I'm definitely a lot closer to my truest expression of myself. And that has been 6 months. 6 months is a long time, that's half a year. It is a long, challenging journey. You will face setbacks, you will feel times where you don't feel as strong and you fall into old habits, but you just got to remind yourself that you're on this journey. You've lost your identity for whatever reason. Maybe you've become a mum and you've just got so wrapped up in being a mum that that's become your identity and you don't have your old self anymore. You don't feel like you do. Maybe you've been so identified with a job that then ends up not being there anymore and you have to find yourself again. Like there's all different reasons for why we have to strip back the layers and find our true authentic self, but it can be a really long and really lonely journey. So be patient with yourself. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Don't expect too much right away. Just take it as it comes every day. Use your tools and it will happen. The transformation will occur. And sometimes it'll occur without you even noticing it until you look back. That's literally what happened to me. I was just reflecting on the past 6 months, and I was like, wow, I'm a completely different person to the person that I was 6 months ago. So sometimes it's not always staring you in the face, sometimes it will creep up on you. Be patient with yourself. And my final tip, which is not going to be surprising to anyone that knows me personally, affirmations. Say affirmations every single day. Practice saying self worth affirmations because these will remind you of who you really are and remind you that you are worth taking the time and energy to find yourself again, that your voice is important, that you're important and you deserve to be heard, and that the truest, authentic expression of yourself is valuable and worthy and the world needs it. So practice some self-worth affirmations, loads of affirmation tracks on YouTube, just saying things every day like I am worthy, I am important, I deserve to be heard, my opinions and feelings are valid, all these types of things. One of my favorite ones is when I am the truest expression of myself, I inspire other people to do the same. So yeah, there are loads, and you can make up your own. You don't even have to use mine. You don't have to use anyone. You can make up your own. So yeah, this was a fairly deep topic. I feel like I could honestly do another video about this. So if you'd like me to, and you're interested, or you've been through this situation where you feel like you've kind of lost yourself, then please give me a like and a comment. You can also reach out to me on Instagram if you'd prefer to do that. My handle is at Sarah C. Meikle. And yeah, if you're on this journey, I really wish you all the best with it. I know it is a tough one, but you will get there. You deserve to get there. And the world needs your true, authentic self. So don't give up. Thank you so much for being here for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.